Welcome back, Year 5. Today we're continuing our work with adding and subtracting decimal values. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to demonstrate your understanding of place value when adding and subtracting values with tenths and hundredths. For this lesson, I'm going to be referring to the Power Math textbook. I know you don't have your copy yet, so I'm going to put everything you need on the screen. Let's start with a review of place value. I like to do this every time just to reinforce what I mean by the tenths and the hundredths. Tell me, I won't be able to hear you when you tell me, but say it at the screen anyway. Which one's bigger, tens or tenths? If you said tens, you're correct. What about this? Which one's bigger, hundreds or hundredths? If you said hundreds, you would be correct. Remember, as we move to the left, the value of the places gets bigger. In fact, it gets 10 times bigger each time we move to the left. That means when we move to the right, everything gets 10 times smaller. So the tenths are 10 times smaller than the ones place, and the hundredths are 10 times smaller than the tenths place. Now, with all of that in mind, we're going to do some work in the textbook. Well, I'm putting it on the screen like I said, and I'm going to show you first how I would do my work from the textbook into a notebook. Then you're going to do your independent work the same way. Alright, so this is how I've set up my page. I started with the date, and then I put the topic, which is adding and subtracting decimals, and then I wrote the page that I'm getting everything from. At the top it says Think Together, and it's from pages 14 and 15. Now for question 1A, I put 1 off to the side and then A a little closer to the margin so that I know obviously which problem I'm talking about. 1A says, look at the containers. How much orange paint can be made? Well, I see 2 containers with paint, yellow and red, and then an empty orange tin. So if I mix the yellow with the red, that's going to be 0.41 plus 0.42. So all I'm doing is adding those two values together. I don't think there's going to be any exchanges or regrouping here. 1 plus 2 is 3. 4 plus 4 is 8. Decimal point, 0 plus 0 is 0. So when I add those 2 tins of paint together, I end up with 0.83 liters of paint, specifically orange paint. There we have it. Now B. It says, Bronwyn adds the water and the black currant to make blackcurrant squash. How much squash can be made? Squash is just a mixed drink, by the way, kind of like Kool-Aid. Well, I see 0.29 liters of water. And she's mixing them, so that means she's adding them together. So 0.29 liters plus the 0.22 liters of blackcurrant. And I'm adding those. Sorry my line isn't straight. I'm having to look through my camera instead of directly at my hand, so it's a little crooked. Okay, so the L just means liters, so I'm going to put back that L. 9 plus 2 is 11. So there I have a 1. Why? Because it's the ones place, and then I carry over my 10. 1 plus 2 plus 2, that gives me 5. 0 plus 0 is nothing, and I put back my decimal point. So when Bronwyn, when she mixes those two together, she can make 0.51 liters of squash. All right, so that's everything for question 1 done. So that's my first page, 14. Now for question 2. So off in my margin, I'm going to skip a line. I put number 2. Number 2 also has an A and B part, so I'm putting A. It says, Jamila has 2 tins of soup. How much soup does she have in total? Okay, I see the 2 tins. And again, it says in total, so I know I'm just adding. It's going to be the small tin, which is 0.39 liters, plus the big tin, which is 0.52 liters. Adding them. I'm going to try and make my line a little straighter this time. Whee, there we go. Liters, again. 9 plus 2 is 11. Put my 1, carry my other 1, which is worth 10. 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 5 is 9, decimal point, 0. Well, Jamila has 0.91 liters of soup.
There we go. It says for part B, let me put my B down. She needs 1 liter of soup for all of her friends for lunch. How much more does she need? Oh, how much more? Well, if it's asking how much more, it's asking for the difference between what she already has, which is 0.91 liters, and the amount that she wants to have, which is 1 liter. So if I'm finding the difference, that means I'm doing what? You got it, subtracting. So I have 1 liter, take away 0.91 liters. Remember, when there are all those empty spaces, what can I fill them with? Zeros, because this 1 is in the ones place. That means it's right next to the decimal point. There's 0 tenths and 0 hundredths, so I can fill it in with zeros. Now I can subtract. 0 take away 1. Can't do it. Try and steal, can't do it, so I steal from the ones place. 1 turns to 0, I carry it over 10, cross it out, turns to a 9, carry it over. Now I have 10 take away 1. That would leave me with 9. Now I have 9 take away 9. That leaves me with nothing. Then I have nothing take away nothing. Still nothing. So she is going to need 0.09 liters more, because it's asking me how much more soup does she need. So 0.09 liters more soup. There we go. Now I'm going to move on to that challenge.
So I'm going to jump in here real quick with a voiceover. I somehow managed to mess up the footage of me doing the challenge, so I can't do it in a split screen like you were just seeing, where you could see the book and what I was writing. So I'm going to show you the challenge here. As you can see, it's about Ebo and Kate making slime, and then in a second you're going to see how I worked it out. So you won't see the book at the same time, unfortunately.
As you can see, I started on a fresh page, but I haven't head up again because it's just carrying on from the same activity. So question 3 has an A and a B part. So let's start with A. It says, Kate and Ebo each have a bucket of slime. Ebo says, my bucket has 0.27 liters in it. Kate says, my bucket has 0.22 liters more than yours in it. And then it asks me, how much do they have altogether? Well, first of all, I need to know how much each of them has. Ebo is quite easy. He says exactly that he has 0.27 liters. 0.27. So I'm just going to put Ebo with a little colon. Kate, though, is a bit more difficult. While Ebo just told us straight up, for Kate's, I'm going to have to work it out. She says that whatever Ebo has, which is 0.27, she has 0.22 more. So that tells me I need to add 0.22 to whatever Ebo had. And that's going to give me 2 plus 7 is 9. 2 plus 2 is 4. Decimal point, and then I put back my 0. So Kate has 0.49 liters. Okay, now I can actually begin to answer this question. It wants to know how much they have altogether. So now I need to add Ebo's to Kate's. So Ebo had 0.27 and Kate has 0.49. 7 plus 9 is 6. Carry my, oh, not 6, sorry, 16. Put my 6, carry my 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. Put back my 0. 0.76 liters. Now, this is what the question wanted to find out from me. How much do they have altogether? 0.76 liters of slime. This is what you would call a multi-step question, because in order for me to get this answer, which is what it really wanted, I had to first work out what Kate has, and then I had to use that to work out what the two of them had altogether. So it was a two-step process. Now for the B question. They need 1 liter of slime in total. How much more slime do they need? There's that how much more again. So I know I'm finding the difference. So they need 1 liter, which is the same as 1.00, but right now they only have 0.76. So just like before, I'm subtracting, and I had to put in some zeros to fill up the space so that I could figure out how much is left or how much more they need to get up to 1 from 0.76. 6 from 0 can't do it, can't steal, so I come over here. That turns to 0, this becomes a 10, but then I cross it out and steal from it, turns to a 9, and this becomes a 10. 10 take away 6 is 4, 9 take away 7 is 2, 0 take away 0 is 0. Put back my decimal point. So they need 0.24 liters more. If they need to have 1 liter altogether, they need this much more in order to get there. All right, so as you can see, I did all of my work without having to write down each and every single question. I just set up my book so that it's obvious which questions I'm answering. If you set up your book this way, it will be very easy for me to mark it, and I'll really appreciate it.
Your independent work today comes from pages 16, 18, and 19 of the textbook. I'm going to show them to you much bigger than this in just a moment. I just want you to get a glimpse of what you're doing. Just like I did, you're going to set up your notebook with the date, the topic, and the page numbers that you're working on. You are not going to copy each question. You'll simply write the question number and then show me your work. All right, let me show you the pages now. Here we have page 16, so you can pause here, do what you need to do. Here is page 18, so again you'll need to pause and do the activities. And finally page 19, which has a challenge on it. When you're all done, as always, take a picture of your work and send it to me. That's all for now. You know the drill. Stay safe and I'll see you soon.